Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Uncover with Dale at MBR Radio, where we're giving veterans a voice. I hope your week is going well. And good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Uncover with Dale at MBR Radio, where we're giving veterans a voice. We have our special co-host today with us of Eric in the house and H. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is February 5th, 25 actually. Wow. I'm like trying to go back. There's so much in the news. I don't even know where to start. There's a recent shooting here at the Denver Washington Park, which is a favorite place for many people, including veterans, where they bike, they cycle. It's a safe place, beautiful lake, ducks, and unfortunately, we had someone to get shot the last few days at the park. I don't know if you guys read up on it, but it was pretty shocking. I mean, for Denver to have a shooting like that to take place, I guess the gentleman had no prior criminal history.
No, he has no criminal history. He had some mental stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because all this guy did was ask him if he could sit down on the bench, and he just went crazy and shot at him and his bike. And then as he was leaving, he shot at someone else.
So he shot two people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's just something that we normally don't hear about here in Denver. It's a pretty safe city. We did have a knifing event a few months ago. A gentleman was knifing people, and in the downtown area.
Knifing people?
what
Knifing? Is that
Stabbing.
New English? That must be Texas English. I've got a TBI and I even know it's stabbing people, not knifing people.
We're knifing people now.
Oh my God. Yep. You got
knifing,
me there, man.
knifing. Yeah.
It must be East Texas thing. Yeah. And I'm, not to make light of what happened, but yeah, stabbings were taking place in downtown Denver. But, it's just, we're not used to that. We're not used to this kind of, this type of behavior. Colorado, we have mass shootings out here, the Aurora theater shooting.
You want to know why there's a lot of crime besides the planned crime? It's because a person will steal or fight or something just to be able to go to jail. Because if you think about it, you go to jail, you get you get a cot, you get something hot, and you have a ceiling above you.
Yeah, you just lose your rights. But I guess if that's not important, you can get free food.
Well, I mean, it's either lose your rights or
live on the streets.
Eat food out of a trash can or something.
Live on the streets.
You know?
Yeah.
I tell you, when you're at that point where you just you don't have you have to have something,
Yeah.
That's when you know that it's a reality.
Yeah. I get it. There was an article. It's funny you bring that up, H. There was an article in Asia. The economy is so bad right now in Asia. Middle-aged people are trying to get arrested and go to jail
Oh, wow.
so they can get food. Like people over their over the 60s, or they're over in 60s or whatever, they're trying to go to jail because their kids can't take care of them anymore and the lack of resources. So that's interesting that you brought that up. But crazy world. I don't know. It's just a lot going on. But we are celebrating Black History Month. There's a lot of a lot of events going on this month with Black History Month, Rosa Parks, and all of that. And just get out and look up your favorite radio station or your news channel. There are going to be a lot of events. Erica, is there anything that you know that's going on specifically, like here in Denver, as far as Black History Month? I know there's going to be a free museum day.
Oh, that's
At-
always the first
Yeah.
Saturday of the month.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and also I think there's going to be some symphony performances where you can go check out as far as this month. But I would definitely encourage everybody, just go to Google, check out your local Congress, whatever city and website or
yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah.
since all the stuff that's going on in Washington,
yeah,
if people are doing any
Yeah.
celebrations. I've read that Hegstuff or whatever his name is, Secretary of Defense,
Mhm.
he just pulled the plug on any Black History Month celebrations on all bases,
Oh wow, okay.
along with the Department of Education. They're trying to cancel. Have you heard that one
No,
yet?
I haven't.
Oh, they want to dismantle the Department of Education.
Well, I mean, I've heard about history and education.
No,
and
just the whole department. He wants
Oh,
to get
wow.
rid of.
the whole history. Okay. Well, I don't know how everybody feels about that, but I think our history is important. We definitely don't want to repeat certain things in our past, but it's a lot going on in the world. I don't know. I try to look from both sides and be fair and just listen to everyone's point of view, because we all have life has happened to all of us different. We
Right.
talk about it in the studio here, so we want our president to succeed no matter who it is.
Right, but we need also a president that will lead us and not divide us,
Yeah,
because right now the country is divided.
The way I see it, I mean, this is just a person looking out from inside. It's almost like Democrats are the Democratic leaders. They're trying to get everybody all riled up. That's the way that I'm looking at it, because they know as adults that this shit's gonna play out. They know it's gonna play out, but yet they're gonna make drama because that's what sells.
I think it's my opinion. It's the opposite side. Actually,
Yeah.
all of our government officials are. We need to start over,
Yeah.
because they're being bought by companies, lobbyists. I mean, there's no one there that's
But
for the people.
don't you think that there's more corrupt people in the federal courts than there is like state? I think that's one of the reasons why
No.
Trump is pushing everything from federal to state. That's my concept that I get from it. I could be wrong, but I believe and trust the military, the representatives here in Colorado, like Michael Bennett and I forget
John Hickenlooper.
Yeah, I trust them because I know them. You tend to know people. You know what I mean? And I think you can trust somebody in the same state rather than somewhere else. So I mean, I'm from Indiana, but I can't trust my Indiana representative because I don't know him.
But do you really? You've even told me this. Do you really know anyone, Dale?
Well, that's
You've
a
even told
difference,
me
though.
that.
Well, so there's a difference. There's people's how do I explain this? When people either have two sides to them, they either have a left, they have a right. Like left meaning that they're gonna be friends with you. They're gonna go out of their way to help you and stuff like that. On the other one, they it's just the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
I mean, I think the fact that we are all team players here, we all grew up in different spaces. I grew up in
Yes.
East Texas, but we get along. We can have a conversation.
Yeah.
So I don't fault Erica for who she voted for or you.
Right.
We can come together and have a conversation and not be one-sided. I don't consider myself left or right.
Right.
I want this country to succeed. I'm in the middle. I want to do what I can to make the world a better place.
Right. And when I look at this painting of what I'm picturing for like the United States and everything, like it's going to play out. Everything's going to be okay. Nothing is wrong, just like here we're safe,
Mm-hmm.
I think people try to dramatize it too much, and it's always going to play out.
Yeah. I mean, I got friends who grew up in Ohio. They're Caucasian. Their story is different than mine. Dale, my family was poor. We had a farm. We feel ignored by the government. So if you can just listen, take the time to listen to everybody that's a part of your life, no matter what color they are, what what they got in their bank account.
Mm-hmm.
I got friends who are Caucasian and they're poor farmers. But so I see both sides, minorities, and the Caucasian side of it. And if you can just take a minute to do that, I think our hearts would be more open to empathy. And on that note, we got about 4 minutes. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back to our interview of the week with Big Grizz. Big Grizz is a military podcast, amazing guy. He's going to be leaving us soon because he's gotten discovered, but we're going to be talking about him shortly. So thank you for tuning in to Uncover with Dale at NPR Radio.
We're living the American dream. I'm the American dream. Go to school, go to work, Sunday mornings choose a church, attend our games, our plays, PTAs. Drive our cars, flying planes, take the buses, take the trains, walk the beach, ski the slopes, living out our dreams and hopes. We're living, yes, we're living the American dream. We're the American dream. Thank you, soldiers, sailor, airmen, guardsmen, and marine. Thank you all for fighting for our freedom and our dreams, protecting our Constitution, guarding our homes and towns, defending our shores, seas and skies, and putting boots on the ground. Some gave all for me and you. We served the red, white, and blue, protecting the American dream. Thanks to you, living the American dream. We're the American dream. The world's become a smaller place, many creeds and one big race, staking our claim to the Creator. We have to find a way for each to still be different but live in peace. Till then, we must protect ourselves, 'cause we're living, yes, we're living the American dream. I'm the American dream. We're the American dream.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
And good afternoon. Welcome back to Uncover with Dale and NBR Radio. We're giving veterans a voice, and we have Erica in the house, my favorite co-host, Joel in the house. So we have a special guest with us, guys. We're going to go ahead and take a segment to our interview of the week and bring them in.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
That was awesome. Awesome. So if you're just tuning in, welcome to Uncover with Dell at NBR Radio. We have a special, amazing guy with us today.
I'll make you pay not to be muted.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. Oh, you guys. We have a special guest with us, Big Grizz. He's a local podcaster with NBR Radio. He's a veteran. We're going to bring him in. Grizz, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. I know you just got discovered and you don't really have time to be here with me, but I just
we need your autograph too.
I need your autograph.
We need to auction it off.
How's it going?
Exactly. Good. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Of course.
So, I mean, we're not going to before we dive into your podcast. Can you give us a little bit information about your family life, how you got involved in it, in the military, your MOS? Let's just kind of start from there.
Okay, so that's a 20 plus year story that we're gonna.
No worries.
I enlisted in '99 at 17.
Wow.
I turned 18 in basic, and then in 2000 in September 11th, 2001, I was at home with my mom. I was on vacation when that happened, and I got called back right away. I was in 4th Infantry Division out of Fort Carson, actually.
Oh, wow.
I was in 112th Infantry Division. We found out then that we were going to be the unit on the invasion with 3rd ID. We just didn't know when. We got our orders, ironically enough, on Martin Luther King Day. Sorry,
your dog. No worries. What are their names?
My big one, his name's Odin. He's a retriever. My little rat one, she's Papa Sean, and her name's Mila.
Oh,
shut up!
Oh, that's what I do.
That's
you should get a little ultrasonic thing, and you press a button, and they're like, "What?"
Well, I'm supposed to be waiting on something, and they sit in the windows and they bark in the windows because they see squirrels outside.
Oh, so no worries.
They bark at the squirrels.
No worries. Cool. Okay, so you served in the infantry, and then you did how many years? And
just shy of 12. I got hit by an IED in 2008. I got evac'd out of country.
Okay.
I had a full knee replacement. I almost lost my right leg.
Okay.
And after that, I did just a couple years as rear D until my ETS came, and they more or less forced me out. They wouldn't let me re-enlist anymore because of my injuries. So I just waited and got the honorable discharge.
Okay.
And got into construction. I was a general foreman for the Carpenters Union, and in 2021, I had 2 massive strokes due to a TBI I sustained from an explosion in Iraq, and it took most of my vision. So while I was in the hospital, my dad told me I would do something with my voice. And so I started my podcast, and H knows I literally started my podcast with my phone, recording it onto a computer, talking to vets and posting it on Spotify. And then H found me and brought me on MBR. And taught me everything I know about marketing and being able to run StreamYard and doing what I needed to do. And I got some big shows lined up, and due to one of my guests that'll be on my show on Friday, I got called by Voice of the People, and they asked me to become part of them. And they're in 98 countries and have an audio following of 64 million. So we're trying to up the live part of it, and I'm got given a great opportunity. And it all came from MBR.
Oh my God. I mean, it just seems like everything's lining up for you. I would love to backtrack just a little bit. Was there anyone else in your family who served in the military? What made you decide to join the military?
So I was not a great teenager. Okay. And I knew I had to get out of this state of Washington. And so my easiest way out was the military.
Okay.
And there was, go back into the time, my grandpa, he's passed away. He's been gone for 20 or 15 years, something like that. He was in the Cold War, in the Korean War, and didn't know really much of anything about him. What was that?
I'm not sure. It sounded like something was in the background, but I think we're good. We're good, Joe.
That would be StreamYard. It does that thing. StreamYard's like an old attic house.
It was Joel.
Like you could be there saying stuff, and then next thing you know, there's like a fart or something. There's a sound. Grizz knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
and honestly, the only other person in my family, like immediate family, that I really know that enlisted is my aunt, and she enlisted the same time I did.
Okay.
She was able to get under that. Was it 33-year-old mark? She was able to get in because she's really close to my age. I think she's only like 10 years or 13 years older than me.
Yeah.
And so she enlisted at a little bit after I did, and that's the only other one that's been military.
In your family.
Yeah.
My sister was we talk about it a lot. My sister was my role model. She joined the Navy to escape East Texas. It's a small town. You end up wandering around, getting in trouble. So she joined the military, and I did the same thing. I did a year of college first, but I wasn't mature enough. I was partying. My grades weren't good. So I'm like, you know what? I need to join the military. So it was such an opportunity to serve my country, but also to be productive. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah. Instead of getting in trouble and floating around, doing whatever, I don't know if floating around is the right word, but you know what I mean? But it's like, in a small town, there's nothing to do. You will get in trouble, I mean,
that's why I had to get out of the state. I was getting into a lot of trouble, and I needed to get away from everything to save me. And it definitely changes you. It makes you grow up real fast.
It does. What was your original idea for the military? Did you have an idea on a career, or you just kind of wanted to pursue serving your country? Was there anything in particular?
I had no idea. I made a split decision when I was a kid. I didn't know what it was going to entail. I had no idea. I originally enlisted as a 63 Bravo.
Okay.
And I never once ever in my life worked on a car in the military or a Humvee in the military. I went straight to an infantry unit and ended up reclassing to 11 Bravo with the experiences that I had in Iraq, in Afghanistan, being on a multi-evasion tactical team, evasive, excuse me. I was on an MET team. I was more or less like an elite security guard for a lot of people, like a president I really don't care to talk about at that time because I just didn't like him. I didn't agree with what we were doing. I got to meet him. I got to meet Toby Keith. I got to meet the Dallas cheerleaders. I got to escort all of them around and keep them safe in 4 years that I was in Iraq.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we all, I went in the 90s, not to put my age out there, but I was an honor guard in DC, and my idea was I want to go to Guam, I want to go to Ireland, I want to see the world, but guess what? I got selected for the honor guard, so I got stuck in DC, but at the end of the day, I think we kind of all took what we got. And a lot of people said you can't turn down this opportunity to be in a presidential honor guard. So I'm like, okay. So I guess it wasn't meant for me to go overseas, but I know we all serve the best way we can and best way we could, and just kind of we took the orders that we were given. But we definitely appreciate your service. We're going to be going to a short break here. When we come back, I would love to discuss what's going to, with your new show, the new opportunity on The Voice. I mean, it's just amazing. If you're just tuning in to Uncover with Dale at NBR Radio, we're talking to Big Grizz. He's from the Big Grizz podcast. Amazing guy, really talented. And yeah, just tune in. We'll be right back. You're listening to NBR Radio. We're giving veterans a voice. Thank you.
To a hero, I say, I hope to see you again on some sunny day. And to a hero, and the love you left behind, I'll try my best to pass it on till the end of my time. And to a hero, you're gone, but I have no doubt that you have made it home. And to a hero taken way too soon, over there in that dusty country, an Afghan afternoon. To a hero and the little one you left behind, I hope he grows up with your passion, I'm sure he will with time. And to a hero, a warrior through and through, you were taken way too early, what can we do? Well, we can try to keep your spirits alive, we can try to be nice, we can not take for granted all the beautiful things in our lives. We can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. To all the heroes taken from our lives, at home or in those countries, fighting for what's right. Now we can do this for you and all your kin, and make this world a better place for your kids to grow up in. And we can try to be true, admit when we don't have a clue, and be there with the ones we love until our time is good and through. And we can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. Yeah, we can try to keep your spirits alive, and we can try to be nice. We can not take for granted all the beautiful things in our lives. We can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. Well, to a hero you again on some sunny day. All right, to a hero.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
I can't hear myself. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome back to.
That's what happens, Erica, when you make fun of me. I mute you.
Of course, and he muted me too. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Cover with Dale at MBR Radio. We're giving the veterans a voice. We got Big Grizz with us in the house, Erica, and H. So let's dive into it, Grizz. Okay, you just got discovered. Okay, so let's back up. You started the podcast with when? How many years?
In 2021, after I got, over the being pissed off because of what happened to me, I started my podcast, and that was just on my phone and recording it onto the computer and downloading it onto Spotify.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Did you have any training? You just figured it out?
I just would call vets on my phone, and I would set my phone literally on my mic, and I would record it into my computer, and then I would download it onto Spotify.
Oh my God, that's so awesome! You just jumped into it on your own. That's amazing. Yep. So you had your own podcast going on Spotify, and then how did you hook up with Joel?
I don't remember if I reached out and talked to him or if Joel had heard my podcast, but it had went to, I got an email, and well, it went from there.
Oh my God, that's wonderful. And you guys just kind of trained remotely, because I know you're in Washington State, so you and Joel, he kind of set you up remotely, and you just did you start getting your own interview people to come out? And
yeah, I've always done that. I've reached out and got my own guest.
Came here, yeah.
H showed me how to run StreamYard, how to put videos together, how to do, because I've always done like videos because of fishing. I have a YouTube channel for fishing, so I would make my own videos on Wondershare,
like shorts.
Yeah, and I would do that, and actually H is the one that showed me how to get all the sound set up right, how to get on StreamYard, how to use Canva, how to start putting all this together. We worked for about 2 months. I mean, more like 3 times a week. He would help me do all that, and then I just started doing it on my own.
Oh my God!
On through MBR, and ended up helping him train people that are folks coming up with podcasts and showing them how to use the different things. And then, with what I have coming up, it's going to be a very controversial next 5 weeks on my show.
Yeah.
And
you can go ahead and dive into that if you want. I know we discussed it off air, but go ahead if you want to reshare a little bit of what's coming up on
right now. I have a string of January 6ers that have been pardoned to get their side of the story and what they seen and what had happened to them. Not just, I don't know what I can say because I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to.
No, this is a free show. We talk about everything. We respect everyone's opinion on this show. So I would like to hear, your version and who's, what they want to share with you as far as what happened with them on January 6th.
Well, we have been told through all the fake media just one-sided version of everything. Nobody has actually came out and talked about what really truly had happened. It's just what we've been shown. Do I believe any of it? I believe that it happened, and I think that the news took it to a whole nother level and made these people look like they were horrible people. And in reality, they're not. I've talked to multiple of these January 6 guys. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that went into the Capitol that deserve to sit in prison because they did the wrong thing. And I will not have them on my show. And I still think that they should be in prison, especially certain ones that did stuff
Right.
in the Capitol. I don't agree with that. But when it comes to these guys that were actually doing the peaceful protests and sticking up for what they believe in, just like what's happening right now with all the protests everywhere around this country, they're sticking up for what they believe in. There's some of them that are going about it the wrong way, and then there's the ones that are doing it the right way. And I fully will stand behind that person, even if I agree or don't agree with them. But I will never stand above and beyond to actually do the wrong thing.
Yeah, yeah. So you're trying to show everyone's perspective. Everyone, it's kind of like if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. You're trying to show that some people had different intentions when they tried to break into the White House or when they were present.
Well, let's get real. Nobody broke into the White House. It wasn't the White House. It was the Capitol building.
Or Capitol. I'm sorry.
And to further on that, the Capitol building is we the people's building. It's not the government's. Anybody can walk in there, so there was no breaking in. Okay. There was 4 entrances into the Capitol, and every single one of those doors were open to let people in, and they were only showing media on the main building right in the front where the stairs are, and there was Capitol Police shooting these guys with rubber bullets and hitting them with tear gas for standing there doing what they believed in. If that happened to me, I'm sure both of you guys have been through a gas chamber. It is not fun.
Yeah.
And you get irate because you can't see. You got snot dripping out your nose, and you got all this stuff going on. If that happened to me, because I was supposed to be there at January 6th, but my daughter convinced me to not go.
Okay. Okay.
Because it could have been me.
Yeah, it could have been you. Yeah. I think a lot of people can resonate with what you're saying, especially, you think about George Floyd. There were some people who looted and some people who just they were passive. What the word I'm talking about? They were protesting passively. They didn't loot. They didn't do so. I know as a society we can throw everyone in the same pot. So I think, is that what you're kind of showing? You're trying to show a different perspective of the people.
I'm showing these guys that got pardoned. I want their story to come out from the start, from 8 o'clock in the morning over there in DC when all of this started. And the gentleman I'm going to have on my show on Friday is probably going to be one of the most controversial ones because he actually was in prison. He's been in prison, and he was one that got pardoned.
Yeah.
And he was the gentleman that was in all the footage in a black tank top, and his arms are all tattooed up, and he's bald with a beard.
Okay.
And he was literally standing there going like this, wiping the stuff out of his eyes.
Okay. All right.
People like that, I want to share their story. I am not going to talk to somebody that, was beating the police and all of that, or was breaking stuff. That is not anybody I will ever support or back or get behind. Mm-hmm. But these guys that were these male and female, and I say guys, it's everybody. It's not just guys. These folks that were truly just standing up for what they believe in and not going above and beyond on anything. I think they had bogus charges, and I think the January 6th committee that did this to them, I think they need to be held accountable for what they did. And the start for me is sharing their side of the story.
Yeah.
And then to each their own. Anybody that watches, you can take what you've seen on the media and you can take the story from the actual person, and you can come up with your own consensus. But when it comes to we're only being told one-sided stuff, people are going to hate these folks, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be that way, because you look at 2019, 2020, when all the riots were happening, and like out here in Seattle, you had the Chop Village that they overtook, and they were burning Seattle down and burning Portland down. Why did none of these people get in trouble? They literally were detained and let out the next day. But January 6th, there was no violence with these guys, except for the certain ones where there was violence. Why were they sitting in a federal prison for 3.5 years when these guys that were completely annihilating cities and being complete asshats, in my opinion, nothing happened to him. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's the government's, trying is picking on one side of the aisle and going after people that want a republic versus not. And then they're, even now I've been watching the news, these the left side of the aisle is coming out with, we're going to fight, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. If you notice, in the 4 years that we were under Biden's regime, none of that came from conservatives. None of that happened. No protests, no burning cities down, nothing. We took it for what it was. We lost the election. We took it in the ass and we dealt with it. But it never went any further than that. But in 2020, they were doing it. And now that Trump's back in, it's already started again. What happened to the 4 years when, conservatives and Republicans get such a bad rap? We didn't do any of this. Yes, there was voices out there because we were ashamed with how the country's going, but we didn't go any further than that. No matter what, I will say, hands down, you can ask me, Biden was elected the president, and that's all I'll agree to.
So you do believe he won the election fairly?
He was elected president. He was certified. That's it. I'm not gonna go. No, right. I don't think he won. I think he was certified, and it is what it is. And we dealt with it for 4 years. Now it's flipped, and people are getting extremely butthurt for some reason. And I don't understand why, considering everybody complained in the 4 years, both sides, that prices have gone up, the borders are open, and this and blah, blah, blah. But when you put somebody in there that wants to stop it all, people are getting upset because he wants to stop it all. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I just want to expose both sides of it.
Right. And I'm glad, because you're willing to be open to show both sides, because at the end of the day, none of us are going to ever look at this as the same. Our eyes, the world has happened to us all differently. We grew up differently. So if you can put yourself in your neighbor's shoes, okay, this is where they're coming from, but also you have the freedom to have your opinion as well,
Exactly. So why did these guys get their freedom taken away? Because they were standing up for what they believed in. Yeah. But it didn't happen on the other side with the right, like I said, with the riots and all that in 2019, 2020, and the ones that are happening right now. Yeah. You don't see the same thing happening. There's just a difference. And I'm the same lines as you, Dale. I'm in the middle. I'm not going to claim any side. I think there's good qualities to both sides. Now, if we could get a president in there that will take both sides, the good things on both sides, and put it together, that ideally is the best thing for the country. Yeah. But right now, it's like, Erica, you guys said I think you guys said everything is so divided for the simple fact that for a long time, I believe our government was trying to pin sides against each other. The sad thing is if we all came together and everybody came to a consensus, there ain't nothing the government can do about it. Yeah. I pray that every day for our country. And, on that note, if you're just tuning in to Uncover with Dale, we're talking to Big Grizz. He has an amazing podcast called The Big Grizz Show. We're going to be right back after this break. Thank you so much for tuning in to MBR Radio. We're giving veterans a voice. Thank you.
Bed full of tools and some motors, boots full of dirt and they're all scuffed. You think he didn't have much? Well, he lived just a little bit different. Got nothing but got nothing missing. If you met him, you'd say it too. He's the richest man I knew. Yeah, he taught me to pray a little longer, tie your boots, bull, work a little harder. Life's tough, but it's easy when you're smarter. Stay true to yourself, you'll go farther. Love everybody, 'cause one day you might need somebody. And don't you ever try to hurt nobody. Those are just a few things that he taught me. If caught in the middle. Know your worth, boy, don't ever settle. Time heals wounds, just wait, it gets better. Make sure to say yes sir, no ma'am. Look him in the eyes when you shake hands. Don't wait for pain just to say prayers. Just take your time, boy, you'll get there. Yeah, he told me to pray a little longer. Tie your boots, boy, work a little harder. Life's tough, but it's easy when you're smarter. Stay true to yourself, you'll go farther. Love everybody, 'cause one day you might need somebody. And don't you ever try to hurt nobody. Those are just a few things that he told me. Well, he lived just a little bit different. Got nothing but got nothing missing. Lord knows that we're missing you. He's the richest man I know.
Welcome back to Uncover with Dell at NBR Radio.
The music, hey, your music makes me feel like I'm on the X Files.
I love it. Yeah, man. I was going for the Mission Impossible vibe. The Mission Impossible vibe. I know. I was like, I've been working with Joel. I'm like, Joel, okay, I want it to be like a detective show, Uncover with Dell. You know, I want either. Do you remember that cartoon show Archer?
Yeah.
The theme. Oh my God, that theme music, that's what I really wanted for my show. But we worked together and we got this going. So we're good. We're good. So
I thought your podcast was undercover.
That wouldn't get muted at all. That wouldn't get muted at all.
Excuse me?
All right. Well, hey guys, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Big Grizz from the podcast, the Big Grizz. So we were just talking about you're going to be moving on to a new network. You just got discovered on Spotify. You're a veteran who was discovered on NBR Radio here. So can you tell us a little bit about how that came about, how they found you, and how you reached out, and give us a story.
My stepchildren's dad just got here. He's gonna be. So I gotta let him know I'm in a podcast. So
that's okay. Go ahead.
Talking.
No worries. Yeah, this is it's just amazing. Jimmy Covers was just picked up from NBR Radio. He's going to be moving on to a major radio station in North Dakota.
Damn, it's snowing again.
Oh, really? In Seattle?
Well, I'm not in Seattle, but I won't go to Seattle anymore.
Or I'm sorry, where you're at?
Like I told you, I'll go to Seattle. I'll end up not in a good spot.
You'll be up hurting somebody, but we don't want to say that on the radio.
What?
So they located you on Spotify? Like,
no. So what happened with Voice of the People is
Voice of the People. Okay.
I was actually the gentleman I will have on my show on Friday. He was doing an interview with Voice of the People, and I was just listening.
Oh wow!
I was sitting there watching the show and listening to see how the interview went with him. Kind of get my bearings on what I wanted to ask and that kind of stuff. Do your research so you can don't look like a fool on your show.
Right.
And I was in the comments, and he started talking about my show, and so in the comments, the Voice of the People started responding to me. Mm-hmm. And then they asked me if I wanted to get up on their podcast that night. Well, it was only supposed to be like a 15-minute thing to explain kind of what I did and this and that. It ended up turning into a 3-hour podcast with him that I was on. And we swapped numbers, and he called me and had said, if you want, we would love to have you on our show. And right now it's his podcast, and the audio goes everywhere. Like I said, his audio, he's got a huge following on the audio side. Mm-hmm. And it's an opportunity that was dropped into my lap all because we're both having the same guests on back-to-back weeks. And it was an opportunity I couldn't turn down.
Yeah.
MBR is always going to be my home. I started with H, and I built up what I am with his help. I just am moving to something else that
Yeah.
has larger visibility on follower wise, and it just kind of fell into my plate.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all agree here at the radio station the impact that H has had on our lives. You know, what you and I were talking about right before the show, and just getting out of your house, getting out of your head, getting out of your environment. Even Erica just shared, things you've shared with me.
She's looking at you like, don't pull me in.
I know, right? I'm like, what did I do, man? But I'm just like, I'm trying. But she's, she shared with me how it's gotten her out of the house, and it's just been a blessing for all of us. I can't imagine my life like with you, Big Grizz. I was writing before this, and then I saw a VA newsletter go out about podcasting. I'm like, huh, okay, I'm writing already, so maybe I can combine this with my writing somehow. Just like you had your fishing channel on YouTube. I have another friend who has a fishing channel, and he's a veteran, and he kind of got involved the same way. So I think we can take whatever things that uplift us and we can make it into something even bigger as veterans. I don't know what you think about that, but
Very much so. I have been a big advocate on, especially with vets, once you find that peace. And I've told a lot of vets that, because my phone stays on for vets to call me if they need to talk.
Mhm.
And I tell all of them, I was like, you guys, remember back in your childhood, go back to when you were 7 years old, try and remember that far back and find the one thing that you enjoyed doing, whether it was putting puzzles together or building model cars or
Yes.
fishing or
Mhm.
camping or in hunting, anything along those lines, and dive back into it just to bring that peace back into your mind. And that's what fishing did for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just a beautiful example of everything. And Erica, she's an artist. She has a store in the VA hospital.
I've seen your picture. It's amazing.
She,
Oh, what?
Yeah.
You really?
The one right in front of you.
Oh,
yeah, show them. I mean, she brought this into the studio today, and I'm like, H and I are looking at this.
Yeah, she told us that she slaved on it all day.
yeah, on my phone.
It's a beautiful painting of what I'm assuming is a sunset
Yeah.
or a sunrise, right?
It's a
It's very what's the word I'm looking for?
Uplifting or like
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's like a natural scene, and you can just dive into something like that. My big thing is being outside. That
Mhm.
is a big deal for
Me
me
too.
because it helps me clear my head, whether we're fishing or me and my wife take the metal detectors out and just go hiking and play around with them.
Oh,
I mean,
love it.
anything that I can get outside and clear my head, because it's the fresh air, the
Yeah.
scenery, not being around people, all of that, it comes to one thing, and it just like lets my mind
Mhm.
like empty, so I don't not everything is running through my head. And if painting, if that's something, I mean, you just got to find that one
Yeah.
niche that you remember that did it to your that was able to relax you when you were a kid, that you enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. The water is that for me. I just bought a blow up kayak because I normally go out with my girlfriend each year out here in Colorado. And we do the kayaking together. I decided to go ahead and invest in my own blow up kayak because water is therapeutic for me and it's healing. I grew up in East Texas around lakes, and so that's kind of where I'm at. So I think if you can find whatever that outlet is for you. I like picnics. I'm a romantic person. I love picnics.
That's why you went into Coast Guard.
Yeah, the water. I'm serious. Yeah, that's why I selected the Coast Guard. He's like, but I mean, yeah, whatever.
How many people do you know in the Coast Guard? I know one, her.
Honestly, I don't know anybody Coast Guard rise. I have had a few on my show that were Coast Guard.
Yeah.
I don't remember their name. It was a guest, and
That's okay. I get it.
They explained to me what Coast Guard did, and I didn't realize Coast Guard was that big a part of the branches of our service. I did not realize that.
Yeah, we become part of the Navy during times of war and other things. So, yeah, I'm glad I got the chance to serve. But we got a couple of minutes left, Big Grizz. I would love for you to share anything that's on your heart. I can tell you're a person with empathy, and you see people for who they are, and just anything you want to share on your heart right now, especially with the condition of our world. I would love to close out with that.
Well, with the condition everything's going in, the one thing I can say is don't believe everything you see.
Mm-hmm.
You can very much so do your own research and come to a conclusion, but don't believe everything that you see on TV or on news stations, because in reality, you don't know how real and raw it is and how true it is.
Yeah.
But you can take what you've seen and you can do your research, and then you can come up to your conclusion on your own.
Mm-hmm. And as far as your neighbor, trying to meet your neighbor, at a even place, what would you say to people, to reach out to their neighbors? What would you say, like, is the best way right now with everything, with the division that we have?
It's really simple. You can have a normal conversation and talk, and you don't have to get butthurt just because you don't agree with what somebody has to say.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. If you're just tuning in, we've been talking to Big Grizz. He has an amazing podcast. He's now going to be leaving us for the Voice
of the People, Voice of the People USA.
The Voice of the People USA. He's a veteran. He served his country, and he's going to be helping people heal. I think you're going to do great things. I think you have empathy for people, and you can step into other people's shoes. I can see that about you. So we all wish you the best. You're going to definitely be missed. We would love to always have you on the show. If you have time, we would.
I appreciate that. And again, I mean, I'm open always to anybody on a podcast, especially with MBR. I'm not going to tell anybody ever no. My show is always on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The times will vary due to guests, but generally it's around 1 p.m. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
That I will be live, unless I have to rearrange time slots for my guests, because like Friday, I don't know if you guys know who Conservative Ant is, and obviously you guys don't know who Josh Pruitt is. Josh Pruitt is the January 6er that has been in prison for 3.5 years, and he's going to be on. Conservative Ant's a very close friend of mine that I met through TikTok, and I met him in person when I was in Florida. He has a huge voice. Not everybody's going to agree with his thought process, and that's cool. Not everybody's going to agree with mine. But again, like I said earlier, no matter what, you can talk, and you don't have to yell at somebody. If you disagree, you disagree. It's okay. It's okay to disagree with somebody, and it's okay to have a conversation that you don't disagree in. But as soon as you start raising your voice and yelling at somebody, that's when I stop listening.
Same here, man. I get it. I am not confrontational at all. It's just been amazing talking with you today. Thank you again for taking the time to be with us here on Uncover with Dale. If you're just tuning in, this is NPR Radio, where we're giving the veterans a voice. We've been talking with Big Grizz, the Big Grizz podcast, and definitely tune into him. He's doing some amazing work. I think he's going to definitely help the world. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful week, and wishing you good mental health.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.